Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel for another Vital tutorial. I'm gonna go back to talking about Vital for now, but I'm not gonna neglect Surge in the future or other synths which you might want to hear me talk about. So if you feel like asking something, just ask down here in the comments. Now, what am I going to talk about in this videos is mod remapping, which I think is the most amazing feature Vital has to offer, among many others really. But I have never made a video discussing it in detail. I've been using it in a bunch of my patches and in a bunch of my examples, but here I thought it was time to make a video to discuss it more thoroughly. And so, without any further ado, let's get going. So here we have our usual Vital interface, which I suppose you're all very familiar with, and an initialized patch with our buzzy sawtooth, which we all love. And I'm going to turn this into a sine wave, and at first I'm going to make one simple, or not so simple, FM patch. Now, how am I going to do this? I'm going to do it with an LFO. Why? Because Vital has this wonderful feature of having key trackable and audio rate LFO. So LFOs. So now I got this LFO1, I set the smooth to 0, or I wouldn't get the result I want, and I will get this one to modulate the phase. Now you can see this isn't a sine wave anymore. And now I go into the mod matrix and I'm here. Now you see here is what the mod remapping is. So mod remapping means, you have this LFO is a sawtooth in this case, and here we have another sawtooth. So we have like a line being mapped to a line. So, what is actually happening when your mod matrix, when your mod remapping has this shape, the thing will be modulated according just to the shape of whatever you're sending to it. If you change this, things will change. Now, in this case, for example, I might not want to modulate this with a sawtooth, but with a sine wave or with a different number of sine waves. Say, for example, here I have, as you probably know, I've used this already in other patches, I have a bunch of sines in my custom LFOs. So now you see I like this 8, it's a few octaves above. It's, a ratio which would be 4 compared to this, because it's 8 compared to my lower octave. And now I can control this with an envelope. So I'll get envelope 2, get it lower here, get it linear, and then use envelope 2 to control this. Quite a classic. Now, another thing I might want to do here is at this point making why you might wonder why you made it this long and why you made it linear. Well, because I want to use this envelope for a lot of things. Say here I have this mapping of my envelope, and I might want it to have a different decay, more physical, more realistic, like this one. And this does a lot of change, in my opinion. Then you can have LFO1 again. Here I will choose, I cannot drag and drop again because it won't, because I'm already modulating oscillator 1 phase with LFO1. If I try to drop it again, it won't do it, but I can do it like this, just from the mod matrix. So I say oscillator 1 phase, again being modulated. Now I have again my sawtooth, but I will change it into something else. Let's say this 14 sines. Good, and then I will have envelope 2 controlling this modulation, which I will set to 0. And now this is linear, as you would see, like it was the other one. Now I want this to be shorter. How? I can do this, and again changing the and this is, well, not a great FM piano patch, but it's an FM piano patch, and I have like a 3 operator patch made with just one envelope and one LFO. I might want to do something with the EMP envelope as well, right? In this case it will be 2 envelopes, because you see this one will be the envelope, will work as the envelope of my carrier, while the other 2 are the envelopes of my modulators. Now, another thing I might wonder is, you see, if you're trying to make a more complex patch along these lines, you might end up thinking, hey, I want my velocity to modulate the amount of my envelope modulations. And yeah, this is one of the things I like the least in Vital. I mean, I very much like the fact that I can modulate every single modulation amount in my mod matrix. I think it's invaluable. But at the same time, I might like to be able to control the amplitude of my LFOs and my envelopes, above, before those modulations, so that, if I say, hey, I want everything controlled by envelope 2 to be, the amount of modulation from envelope 2 to anything to be controlled by velocity, and I can't do that. Or can I? Yeah, I can. How? Well, with a little trick. You see here I get another LFO, which, as you know, is a per voice modulator. It's not a global modulator. Some people think or say at times, hey, but these things here, you can, if you get this to be frozen, you can use an LFO as if it was a macro, which you can if you are controlling this with another global modulator. But if you're controlling that with a voice modulator, such as an envelope, things will be very different. So I will turn everything which is controlled by envelope 2 to be controlled by LFO2. Yeah, might sound weird for now. Nothing is happening. Nothing is happening because this LFO2 is static. But if I get envelope 2 to control the phase, yep. So I can have this thing, this thing. So you might wonder, why are you doing this? It doesn't change anything. You're just putting another thing in the middle, which potentially could be another thing, another mapping or another power to control. But what I can do here is that I can save myself a bunch of mod matrix slots by just saying I want velocity. Here I will get velocity to control the amount of this modulation. So I say here velocity to this, and I'll make this bipolar. So I might want more of that. And we're getting closer. Now I'm not too happy with these amounts. Maybe I wouldn't want this to be bipolar. Yep. And maybe more velocity tracking, because actually I might want the volume to change more importantly with my velocity. And you can do this with anything, if you have something you want to be controlled by your envelope and you're already thinking of, hey, I want this envelope, I will want this envelope, whatever is controlled by this envelope, to be sensor scaled by the velocity or by something else, it really is up to you. You can do it. And the way to do it is, well, you could, if you have plenty of free modulation slots in your matrix, which now I do because, this is a very simple patch. You could do it one by one, having velocity controlling the amount of every single envelope amount. But you can, group them all together in one LFO and having then only one mod matrix entry to determine all of that. And I think, well, this is not strictly a mod remapping secret, but it's, I think, something quite interesting to know and to do. I would point out that this works only now. Just a few days ago, I tried doing this thing and it didn't work, as it seemed that the envelope triggered the LFOs as they were global modulators and not voice modulators. And I was just about to go on the forum and talk about the bug, but no, they fixed it before I could even address it. So good work for Mike Titel and all those people there. They're really doing great at making this synth better every day. So another thing, well, to go to another thing, there's plenty of things you can do with mod remapping. Really, it's, in my opinion, one of the most amazing features you can imagine. I mean, it really opens up a huge amount of possibilities, like, making switches, making conditional triggers. Say, for example, you want something to happen once in a while and not to happen some other times, you can do it. Say, for example, I'll go and in order to do this, I will have to make a sequence or something like that. Let me make a sequence, a simple sequence. Say I have this LFO1, I will set it to be 1 bar long. And I will have it controlling, saying my filter control here, and I will have this LFO2 because I set this one. I don't know why I would have been fine with envelope 1. Okay, this thing here is modulating my, let's make it 2040 dB, not that it changes anything as far as this goes, but so I have this thing, and now I'll go in the matrix here and I don't know, make something out of it. Let's go for this. Oh, yep, I chose LFO2. I used LFO2, but I was using LFO. This is quite simple, right? Very, very simple. Now, let me just remove some nodes. And I might want this LFO2, again, maybe with the same mapping to control the volume of this too, because I don't want that annoying sine wave when this is not happening. And this, you see, now it's linear, but I can do this thing. One wonderful thing you can do with these mod mapping is that you can copy and paste. And now I have this simple, very simple sequence. Now, I might want to get this moved to 0 again because I really like it to be sharp. Now that I have this, for example, I might say, hey, I want this to happen, but not really all the time. So let's say I get this, let me get this control for my volume. So now its volume is going to be 0. But I'm going to get this random one, for example, controlling my oscillator 1 level, controlling the amount of LFO2 to oscillator 1 level. This will get, random volume. But maybe if I just want it to be, slightly different, I want it to happen just once in a while, not what you would do with a bass. And you can have it happening sometimes, all the time, and in some situations, not in some other situation. You could also go crazier and make it stereo. Make it happen once on one side, some other times on the other. You wouldn't do that on a bass again. Yeah. Now, this is just an idea. Another thing you can do with mod remapping, I'm still always on one bar, you can control the pitch. And this too is very, very interesting for a bunch of possible applications. Saying here, I go in the matrix again and turn this into undervalue. I will want this to be at 12 because 48 will be 4 octaves, and that's a lot. So now it's 12. It's going to be going up 1 octave straight. But then what can I do here? I can get this oscillator to transpose, and I can remap it. I can remap it to something which makes some sense. So like saying this is going to be 16, so it's 16th. And then I'm going to turn this into like 12. I could go, if I made this bipolar and I wanted to go 1 octave above and 1 below, I could go and split into 24. So I'm going for step and turn it on and saying, like this is going to be on the fundamental, but this is not happening. So this is not going to be on the fundamental. This is going to be like, say, on this minor third. Then I'm going to have this somewhere else here on a fourth here. And then this is nothing, but I'm going to be fine with that and with that. And this, I'm going to put it here. And I don't know, I'm just making different notes from point to point so that I have a chance in every point to have some slightly different note. And so Now, you see this thing here is it went in quarters and it is too smooth. Now I could want this to go in 16ths and be a lot quicker, which can be an idea. It's a bit low in volume, but I think no one will be too annoyed by this, hopefully. And we get this thing. Now, another thing you can do is using the mod remapping with the random generators on the phase of your LFO in a sequence. And this, in my opinion, is really amazing. Say, for example, let me get another random because I wouldn't want this to be necessarily, well, I could be fine with this one, but I'm really happier with another one. So I'm going to get another random generator so that I get this thing here. And what will this do? I will use this to control the phase, which means, you see, it just goes wild, right? How much sense does it make? Not much, apparently, right? But we can make it make sense. Saying, for example, I will turn it into a 16, 16. Yep. So this thing is divided into 16 slots, which are each one. Yep, this is too random, and it's too random. It has to be random, but I wanted it to be in sample and hold again, and this too I want it to be in 16ths. You get where we're going. In this case, I can have that every 16th I get another random 16th chosen. And you see, because this sample and hold is basically gonna pick every possible value. But no, I'm gonna get it to 16th again. Can pick any possible value, but in this case, no, it can't. I'm gonna have it. Let me get this to sync. So I'm gonna have it skip to the beginning of another 16th. I did something wrong here. I must have done something wrong because it's not really working the way I meant to. Because why is this? Yep, because this is not into 16ths and 12s. Yep, it is. No, it is. It is right. You remove this one. And well, that's, in my opinion, already quite a lot of synthesis for being, for being something I can do with one finger. And there's lots of things you can do out of it. Now, another thing you can do with it, I mean, among many others, really, I mean, it's one of the features, if not the feature, which allows for more and more possibilities. Another thing you can do is go and map your macros so that you have a bunch of discrete conditions for your patch, and so that you can transform it into one thing or another, making them, like sort of morph switches rather than smooth controls about it, which isn't really my thing, but I believe there's people who like it, and so, well, why not doing it? It's not a complicated thing to do. All you need to do is go and make something akin to this, or whatever shape you want it to be, to have, just discrete steps, and then use these discrete stepped maps to the various parameters you're controlling with the macro, and maybe giving them different values, and so you will get a bunch of different patches which can be obtained just by turning a knob. And I won't give you an example of that, but I will tell you there's a way more famous than me YouTuber, Dash Glitch, who's made a bunch of videos about it. It really seems to be obsessed with this idea. Well, okay, I mean, it's not really a problem. I mean, he's really good. He knows his shit. I mean, I'm very, very happy to watch his videos and to recommend you watching them as well. He's done a lot about Vital. And so this is it. I don't think there's much more I can say. I mean, there could be a lot more, really a lot, because as I said, this is huge. You can see that the thing is, you can change the shape of any modulation to the shape of any other thing, and have the same thing control a bunch of different things having different shapes. And see, this is not a modular. This is not, but it doesn't seem to have such a significantly smaller amount of possibilities because of this mod remapping. As I mentioned already before, you could theoretically be making huge complex FM patches just out of one envelope and one LFO with one oscillator, so it's already quite a lot. Again, with these considerations, I think I don't have a lot more to say. So I will tell you, thanks for the attention. Thanks for being with me, for hearing me talk and make sounds for like 20 minutes. And if you liked it, please do subscribe to my channel. There's a button down here, and you will be informed when I make another video about this synth or another. If you have something you particularly like, or something you didn't find clear enough, or anything else, just ask me in the comments. Tell me. Even appreciation is highly appreciated. If you liked it, tell me you liked it. And what else can I say? See you soon. See you next. There's gonna be a bunch of links in the description to my Gumroad, to some of my music, and to the guy who's making my wonderful thumbnails, and to Deeptanzproductions, from whom you've seen the jingle earlier on, who I'm working with. We offer a bunch of audio-related services you might be interested into. This said, I think I've been talking for over 20 minutes now, and it's a good time to say goodbye. So bye, and see you next.